Hi everyone. Don't think I actually introduced myself really in my last video. My name's Sarah. Um, Today I am wanting to share more my business background a bit. I'm a caterer, dessert caterer. I do wholesale, uh, mostly online, everything. Yeah, I want to share kind of how I got to that, and the kind of the seeds of the idea, and a bit my business journey, kind of a resume of sorts, but a bit more personal than that. But anyways, I'm gonna read again. Maybe one day I'll feel confident enough to just wing it. But anyways, so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of go through my business story a little bit, my journey with that and experience, and maybe in later videos I'll actually give some practical tips and things to how to start a business in food, and maybe save some people some headaches that I went through trying to figure it out. Um, anyway, so yeah, let's go. Yeah, so God has a way of setting you up for what you're to do with your life. Um, you can be going through things and have no idea what use they will have later or what significance they'll play. Um, I would say my business journey started when I was a kid, um, kind of foreshadowing moments in my life, so to speak. Not that I knew back then. Hindsight's 2020, right? So, um, for example, like when I was around maybe 5, I'd help my dad cook breakfast when we'd go up to our family cottage. Initially, I started out just stirring the eggs for him. Um, he'd cook all the bacon and whatnot. As time went on, I started doing the whole breakfast by myself. Became Sarah's Egg Palace, and yeah, I'd cook for my whole family. All my aunts and uncles and cousins when they would come. It became a thing. um, I basically had my own restaurant at our cottage, and I would sell, seating tickets. Like if you wanted a good view, like the one of the water, you had to pay a little extra. If you wanted a view of kind of inside the cottage, where we called it the toilet view, because basically if you were facing towards the cottage, you could see down the hall to the bathroom. Yeah, anyways. My aunts and uncles went along with it. They loved it. Had my cousins become my waiters. Yeah, looking back, I never thought I would ever actually get into food. Um, it's not really something that was on my radar. Um, yeah, growing up, music was always my thing. Like, music was my lifeline through high school. It got me through some of the rough times, kind of alluded to in my last video. Um, yeah, I always thought I'd probably do something with music. Um, yeah, I did have an interest in cooking early on. I've always been overweight, so I did Weight Watchers in grade 6. um, Became pretty obsessed with like finding healthy desserts that I could have, and portioning and nutrition, and not that it really helped me much. But I did Herbal 1 at the end of high school. I actually had some success in that program. But then, put it back on and stuff over college and whatnot. But almost went to school for becoming a nutritionist. Thought about doing that, actually. But alas, my love of music won out, and I ended up taking a music program, the digital arts for the musician, St. Lawrence College in Kingston, and which is where I ended up meeting my husband. So that was a bonus there, even though I wasn't really sure I could really do anything with that specific program, but it was a good time. Around that time, I think it was, I had some friends up to the cottage, some high school friends, one summer, and while I was sitting on the dock, enjoying the sun, wondering kind of what to do with my life, and I felt like God showed me a picture of it's basically just me standing in a cafe type setting, leaning over, just a bistro table, and had my arm around somebody, and was smiling, chatting friendly. And there was a sense of, I guess, ownership and warmth about the place, like it was mine, like, I owned this place, and I was, chatting with some customers or something like that. Um, so, and for many years, I didn't really know what that meant, like what that was supposed to be. That was before I was even considered going into school for cooking, Yeah, it was all about the music at that point in my life. So, but I knew it was something important. Like that picture kind of stuck with me. That feeling of this is gonna mean something, And yeah, after I took the music program there at St. Lawrence College, I realized, like I said, it wasn't really I couldn't really do anything specifically with that program, and I really want to teach. Like, I didn't think I wanted to be a music teacher. And I didn't think I was good enough to like make it as a professional musician. So I decided to take the culinary program that was at St. Lawrence. Um, to me, it made sense. And at the very least, even if I didn't become like a career cook or something, I thought, oh, I always like cooking. I like baking. Um, could be useful to know how to cook. so, um, so yeah, I took that program next. Um, and it was shortly after, yeah, shortly after I started the culinary program that um, I ended up getting married to my first ever boyfriend, who I met in the music program. He was a drummer, and then after that, I started got my first job, like proper job, ever, working in one of the top bakeries in Kingston. Initially, I was just doing basic prep. I got in there because my teacher recommended me. I used her as a reference. She used to run the dessert kitchen in the bakery. So, yeah, I started out just in the main kitchen doing basic prep and chopping a lot of garlic. That year, we also bought our first house with the help of my parents. Thank you, parents. Yeah, life was good. Everything was kind of lining up. It all clicked. When God moves, He moves, right? It just sometimes it happens like that. It's just like bang, bang, bang. Three big things all in the first year. Marriage, marriage, first house, first big, main kind of career type job, instead of just, working as a cashier in a Sobeys. um, so yeah, while I was at Panchancho's, is the bakery I was working at in Kingston, eventually I moved from the main kitchen, just doing the basic prep, into the dessert kitchen. An opening showed up, and I showed up one day, and my boss told me she moved me over to the dessert kitchen. I didn't even have to ask, which was amazing. I think she knew I was interested because originally I was applying for desserts, but um, yeah, so I didn't even have to ask. Um, yeah, I mean that was pretty amazing. And then around that time, I started doing some odd like cakes on the side for friends and family, practicing, doing birthday parties and all that kind of thing, just out of my house. Nothing too serious there. But yeah, things seem great. And despite all my heartache through high school, all my relationship trauma, I was married, I had a house, working in a great bakery, starting to do cakes on the side. God is good. God was good. Um, yeah, at the time, we didn't really have a church community at that time. Um, my husband, after the music program, he did a year at Queen's University for music. He was thinking about being a music teacher. Um, but then he decided that wasn't really for him after about a year into that. And so he started working at a coffee shop. Got a job. My brother-in-law was working there. And so he got a job there, and he actually became one of the best baristas in Kingston at the time. He's good at anything he sets his mind to. Um, yeah, and so why I'm mentioning all that is because um, around that time, it was about a year into our marriage, a friend of ours, one of my childhood friends, he he um, he decided to come and move to Kingston and move in with us because at around that time we started talking with my husband's boss, the owner of the coffee shop he was working at, starting another location. So we were maybe gonna kind of buy into the franchise. I guess wasn't really a franchise. It was just a couple shops, and so our friend, he was gonna maybe come work in our coffee shop. So he came, moved in with us, and yeah, I was gonna be their baker. I was gonna move over. Um, yeah, and like that ended up falling through. It didn't, which is a good thing. We didn't end up kind of going through with that, but it was our friend who moved to Kingston, who helped us find. He knew through family, friends, or whatever, this church in town who operated out of a coffee shop. It was a church, but set up as a coffee shop. They're called Cafe Church Kingston. Um, and as soon as we were there, I thought, this is it. This is the picture God showed me all those years ago. Um, uh, that's what I thought at the time. We quickly got plugged in. Over the years, my role evolved, um, all while I was still working. I was still working, I think, at Paint Changes at that time when we first started going to Cafe Church, and yeah, I was a worship leader at one point, secretary, facility manager, head barista. My husband was the head barista, run their coffee bar for a while, and then I took over that at some point. And yeah, we were there about a good 5 years or so. That was an important time because I learned a lot there, and I was running things for them. I ended up leaving Panchancho's, which was the bakery I started at. And I went and worked for the coffee shop that my husband was working at. Did their baking for a little bit, although things didn't quite work out there. Then after that, I was only there a few months when that kind of fell through, and That was a bit of a mess. Um, because I didn't really have. I won't get too much into that. That was I'll go down rabbit holes here. Um, yeah, so after I was working at the coffee shop, then I went and helped start another bakery that was opening up in town. Um, so I was kind of their key person for a while there, but then that didn't work out either. Um, so after that, I took, I think it was after that one that I took a, it was like a fast track business program when I was on EI. And through, I think it was a government program, but it was basically designed to help you write a business plan and start something. But I didn't end up starting at that point. I ended up working at a retirement home as a baker because they were still, the one that I was working at was still um, doing some of their desserts from scratch, which is rare. And I was also working as a dietary aide for them. So I was there for a little decent amount of time. It was a good job. But I left there because um, I found out about this other bakery that was opening up, bakery coffee shop. So I went and applied there and I got hired to run their kitchen. So here I am again, helping with another startup. I'm in charge of their kitchen with maybe a couple other people. Well, I shared the kitchen management with one other person, and then there was a front of house manager who did the coffee. But so yeah, I started with that, but that also did not work out. That was a bit of a oh boy. Yeah, I won't get into all the details of that, but that was a bit of a crash and burn there. I mean, they're still open and stuff, but that did not work out for me. Nope. So I ended up at another retire home, working. This time I was actually cooking dinner for the residents, and then I also was working as a dietary aide as well, serving food for everybody. When I to supplement hours, I was doing kind of two jobs, and so I was there working there until I think it was around 2022, which is when we moved. We moved out of Kingston, so yeah, all throughout that time, I was working on my catering business, selling to family and friends and coworkers. I did weddings. Yeah, mostly at that time it was mostly cakes, and then like dessert platters kind of thing, and working on trying to figure out how to to do that full time. It's very tricky. There's a lot of rules around food, so um, anyways, one thing I do want to say about those years, there was about 14 years or so, I think, of that. And I got fired from three of those jobs. Yeah, I worked my ass off. Can I say that? I worked my ass off trying to get someone else's business up and running. I mean, one place I was working, I was up at 3 a.m. trying to provide desserts for two stores, two locations with not a proper setup, and it was just, that was a bit of a thing. And then the other place I worked at, I I worked nonstop, no days off, for about 3 months, maybe. I didn't have a day off for 3 months, and I was going in and working long days, trying to get their business running for them, set up systems and all that. Baking, I was the main baker. Had a few staff I was running, but yeah, without really proper support from the owners, like, yeah, that was a whole mess. Um, but yeah, each time this happened like at least three times in Kingston, three times in Kingston. Um, each time I just felt kind of used until things were going, and then I was tossed aside. Like yeah, like I worked to get their business running for them, and then they decided that they didn't need me anymore, or didn't like how I don't know, I just didn't click with the owners or something. For whatever reason, they fire me after I get it running for them, um, which is not a great feeling. Not a great feeling. Um, yeah, let me see where I am in my notes here. Yeah, so I mean, I mentioned briefly that I took that business program in between a couple jobs there, and I mean that one was helpful because it taught me how to write a business plan. It taught me how to kind of go through the steps. But I mean, I didn't actually end up doing it, obviously, because I felt I didn't have the resources I needed to take that step at that time. At least that was my excuse at the time. Um, if I'm honest, really, I was just too terrified to do it, to really do it. I was just, yeah, like I've been doing it on the, I'd been doing it on the side these times, low key, nothing like major, and I was just too scared to take that next step, to really commit to doing it. And it is a big to start up a food business. It is a big investment up front. So, um, at least in some ways of doing it, it is a big commitment. But I will say, in hindsight, looking back at all that, I just know it wasn't my time. It wasn't the right time for me to do that. Um, you see that the whole time God was using that time to teach me things. It felt like I kept hitting roadblocks. Job after job, not working out, pouring myself into each place, heart and soul. Like, I learned so much at each of these places. And, when I do something, I try to do it well. When I'm working for somebody, I give it my all and I treat it like it's my business. And, um, yeah, I learned so much at each of those places. And before we moved, um, this was right during COVID, I might add. Great time to be moving, right? um, yeah, I was working at a retirement home, but I was also working at a health center. Uh, so uh, the health center had a cafe training program for new Canadians, and just to give them job skills and a chance to practice English. COVID had shut down the program, um, but they kept me on to write them a business plan to help them get reopened. I was writing grants for them, making a detailed plan, researching equipment. I was doing the whole thing, all these good things. But then wasn't going anywhere. Like, I was the only one working on it. I had a boss in the program, but they relocated her to a different food program. So I was like I was only the only one working on trying to reopen this program. But I had no authority whatsoever to do anything with it or to move it forward on anything more than just paper. Um, so yeah, like I, it's just funny thinking back on those times. Um, I've written so many business plans. It's not even funny. So many different business plans. I mean, they all have kind of centered around one core idea, but like there's so many plans. Um, I got so desperate with wanting to move forward somehow. I was stuck and depressed. I feel like I was going to just be a nameless cook, somewhere for the rest of my life. Like it felt like everything I was trying just wasn't working. I was just kept roadblock after roadblock. My family was trying to be supportive, but I knew they were starting to think I was maybe a little crazy with all my businesses, with all these plans I was making, just a dreamer, that nothing would ever happen. Um, don't get me wrong, my family is a very supportive family, but I don't know. I got this sense that people never really thought I'd do it, you know, get anywhere with all these plans. I struggle so much. you know how hard it is to start anything food related. There's so many rules. Things are changing a bit now. The government is making it a little bit easier now, which is nice. But at least where I was in Kingston, you couldn't operate legally from your home. Um, I mean, the health department didn't care too much if it's just friends and family, but as soon as you start selling to the broader public, then that's when they start really caring. And your options were basically to go into a bunch of debt to build a kitchen and a shop somewhere. Even for markets, even to do a market, you needed a proper licensed kitchen. Like you couldn't. I even toyed with the idea of parking like a food truck in my driveway so I could just have a separate kitchen. And I was told I couldn't park anything commercial in a residential home. So that's kibosh that idea. Anyways, yeah, I'll get into some of all that stuff. Another video. I could ramble on for hours. But yeah, roadblocks. So many roadblocks. But yeah, like I said, in hindsight, those doors I think were closed on purpose, and all kind of leading me towards moving, because I think God knew if any one of those things had worked out, any of those plans, like whether it was with Cafe Church or if it was any of the jobs, then I wouldn't have moved. I'm a deeply loyal and give it my all kind of person in whatever I do. And I wouldn't have moved if those things, and I think I was meant to move. So those were very hard years in so many different ways, but they were also very formative, and I learned so much. It was all preparing me. So like I had mentioned, we moved in 2022, I think it was. We ended up staying with our friend in London, same friend who moved in with us all those years ago. When we moved, we first stayed in his basement for a bit while we were house hunting and job hunting. Yeah, it was kind of felt like a fresh start. I mean, you'd think moving 6 hours away from with a completely new job field, you'd have better luck with work. But problems have a way of following you, don't they? So I found myself working at yet another startup. Although this time it was more than just a coffee shop bakery. It was like a full out market, high-end grocery store type place that had a coffee shop in it. And somehow I ended up yet again in a situation where I was not officially in charge of anything. They hired me as just, I think my job description was baker's assistant. And, well, let's just say I was not just a baker's assistant when I went in there. So I was basically running the kitchen, mostly the desserts, but kind of helping with the kitchen too. And but I wasn't officially in charge of anything, so I didn't really have any proper supports from anybody. Um, Lasted a few months there, and maybe half a year. I don't know. Time kind of has a way of getting away from you. Um, but I ended up this time. I ended up leaving because my friend of the family in town told me about this farm store that needed some help. She loved going there. Great place. So I decided to go and talk with the owners there, and they ended up offering me a job to run their farm store. So I parted ways with the place I was working at, and we were left on good terms. It was okay, but I did find out later from a coworker who was working there, who was a friend of mine, um, that they were getting ready to fire me. They were gonna have me train staff and then fire me at Christmas. So yeah, but I left before that, and we were on good terms. It's fine. I don't want to badmouth people. Yeah. So let me see where I am in my notes here. I ramble sometimes. At least I'm not crying this time. Um, yeah. So this time I left. Yeah, I got hired to manage the store, farm store, the kitchen, and you know what? That was the best job I had ever had. Great people. I still to this day, um, I'm in contact with them. I still pick up the odd shift with them. Unfortunately, their farm store, had to close, but they're still doing farm dinners now. Uh, if you're looking for something to do in the Stratford area and you like food, it's a 6 course dinner. Check out Lynn Rivers Farms Graze. Um, yeah, just a little shameless plug there for them. Great people, love them. Um, but yeah, the timing worked out actually perfectly for them closing their farm store because I was about to go on mat leave right around the time they closed. Um, yeah, I got pregnant with my son. So, yeah, timing worked out perfectly there. And during that time, after I moved, I actually wasn't doing any of my catering work at that time. Um, Aside from, just family stuff, I did nothing but work on those two places. And then I had my son. I laid it all down. And yeah, it was the second year after we moved, he was born. And we found a house out in Lucan, just this little intersection town. Property was a bit cheaper out there. But we're, commuting to work. But then, I became a mom, and yeah, that became my world. Um, had some family in the general area, but didn't know anybody out there. It was a bit isolating, to be honest. Loved the house. It was great, great little town. But yeah, we were um, kind of in the middle of nowhere, really. But anyways, so about a year or so, I think, a family friend started to approach me with the odd catering thing. Did some batch of cookies here and there. The odd cake. Couldn't really do a whole lot because I was at home full time with my son. And but as time was going on, as my son was getting a bit older and I had a bit more capacity, God just started dropping things for me to do. I wasn't actively searching for anything. The plan was me to stay home with my son. We were going to try and do that. And money was tight, trying to live on one income. But as my son was getting a bit older, I had a bit more things I could do, working basically during naps. And through those same family friends, I ended up landing a gig with, so to speak, with the hospital in town, and had a little coffee shop on site, and I was able to provide some cookies and things for them. I wasn't looking for that at all. It was, family friend approached me, and like they were the one lady was working at the coffee shop and wanting to try and up their game a little bit. So they asked if I could provide some stuff, and I was like, sure. I can try. Kind of working with a few naps, a couple hours here and there, doesn't really give you much time, but so I started that. It was something. And then pretty soon, my husband and I started to feel like we needed to move into town, into Stratford, and which is ironically my hometown, where I grew up. And interestingly enough, that's the place I swore I would never move back to. Yeah, I never thought I would move back to Stratford, but alas, that's what I did. It's funny how having a young kid and having to travel everywhere for groceries, what that'll do for you. Funny how God works, kind of ironic. Yeah, because I was delivering to Stratford, my husband was working in Stratford. It just made sense. Yeah, we weren't even 5 years in Luke. We weren't even 5 years in Lucan. And then we were moving. We were planning to move again. So we had started house hunting. It took us over a year to find a place. In that time, I started supplying another coffee shop with some stuff. Those same family friends, decided they wanted to start their own little coffee shop. And but they weren't going to have like a big production kitchen, just like a little bit to bake some fresh cookies off and stuff. So again, friend of the family, they approached me. I wasn't seeking that out either. I helped them write a business plan and helped them get started, all while juggling staying home with my son, and moving and house hunting and all that. That was quite the year. But I really, really wanted to get, and still, I'm not completely where I would like to be yet, but this time around, I was certainty that I wanted to get properly set up, proper kitchen, fully licensed. When we moved, I rebranded myself. I researched the rules like crazy in this area, hoping that it was better than Kingston. I wanted to do it right. That was important to me. And when we finally found a house in Stratford, Stratford rules allows you to bake from home, from your home kitchen. There's some requirements around there, but it's a lot easier to get started, I should say. And I was really hoping when we were house hunting that I could find a place that had a good sized kitchen, one that I could put some proper equipment in. And the house we ended up finding, I had to give that up. I actually kind of felt God was telling me, because we were looking for over a year. We were getting kind of burnt out. It just, yeah, I felt God was telling me that I'm going to have to give up my kitchen. So I did. Actually quite like the kitchen we're in now. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting down a rabbit hole here. Yeah, so when we did move, I was able to get registered in my kitchen. It's not by any means, a professional kitchen or anything, but it works, and I can do most of what I need to do from home. And then I also managed to stay connected with the farm, with Lynn River Farm, and they let me use their kitchen for things that when I need it, I guess. So between my home kitchen and their fully licensed kitchen, I was able to get myself fully licensed caterer, which is amazing. I have been wanting that for so long. Yeah, it really freed me up to put myself out there and go for it, because before I just wasn't able to do that, and now I can. So yeah, this was great. I'm a fully licensed caterer now, and after 14 years of trying and planning, working for others, building everybody else's business, I finally had a fully legit wholesale dessert catering business running, and it's mine. It's mine. It's not my dream business yet. No, not yet. But it's a start. And I have 3 wholesale clients, an online store, and I'm still doing it all while taking care of my son, who's almost 4 now. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I wanted to give up so many times. I've been so lost and confused, but God is good. God is faithful. Even when I wanted to give up on everything, God didn't let me. And I mean, I even just laid it down for, like, after the one coffee shop incident, I just didn't bake for a long time. It really killed my joy of baking, and I had to really slowly pick that back up again. And in a lot of ways, I'm still not entirely sure where things are going or what I'm doing. But I'm finally in a place where I don't need to know. I don't need to know the details anymore. Anybody who knows me, I am a planner. I plan things out in months. My family is always laughing at me a little bit because we'll barely be past Thanksgiving, and I'm asking about Christmas plans. Anyways. But yeah, it's been a long journey to get here, and I'm really hoping that this channel can help someone with their struggles. That my story and the things that I've learned along the way can help you with yours. And God's really been trying to get it through to me, to tell me that my story is worth telling. So this is me trying to do that. If you want to find out more about how I've dealt with the challenges and the struggles of starting a food business while raising a child, while balancing life, or even just, some of the practicalities of starting a business, click the like and subscribe button. As far as I know, that seems to be what all the YouTubers say. So it must be important. um, Not entirely sure what exactly the next video is going to be, but we can find that out together. Hope you have a great day. Bye.